The snow is falling.
Hi, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations. Guess what we're making today? Yes, we're going to make this wonderful little Minky scarf. This scarf costs $10. It comes in a roll, and I'm going to show you here on the other table when I take it out. And they still have them for $10. It's like a kit, but all it is really just the Minky. And I'll tell you the size and everything as soon as we get to the other side of the table. Doesn't take any time at all to put this together. Anybody can do it, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's get started. So we're going to use pins. So I have a whole bunch of pins in my pin cushion here. And I like these stronger, longer ones. They're not the quilting pins. They're usually butterfly, little round flowers, all kinds of pins. And then for the needle, you're going to want to use a 90-14. Hopefully y'all can see this. I don't know if you can or not. And then the Minky is right here. And I got Shannon Fabrics Luxe Cuddle Minky fabric, and it's a pre-cut. It's 100% polyester, and the size that this $10 package comes in is a 19 by 36. So let me get it open, and we'll get it laid out here, and I'll show you what I do. This is very beginner friendly. That's the reason I'm making it. Now's about the time of the year when you can't have too many scarves. Let me show you it's machine wash. All the directions come on this little piece of paper here. Alrighty. And I bought 3 of these. I have the one that I have on, which is sort of like a turquoise. This one here that we're going to make today is a black, and that's got like a little rubber band here that held it together. Now, we're not going to have to do any cutting, so we don't have to worry about it raveling out on us or anything. You're going to take it. Let me put you up a little bit here. I want to... I'm going to lay it out, get an idea what it looks like. Nice and slick looking. And we're going to fold the right sides together. That's the first thing you're going to do. And then we're going to pin. And what I like to do, now keep in mind that this is the way I do it. It's not necessarily the way that you need to do it. If you are comfortable with clips, you can use clips. So I go down to the left. I'll put a pin on it. And we're going to be double pinning this because we want all of this to stay put. We don't want it shifting. And we're going to go to the other end over here. I'm going to make sure I got it in the camera. And we're going to do the same process. I'm going to pin it at the end here. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 in here. And I'm going to put 1 here. Then we're going to go to the middle because we're trying to get this even. And this loves to shift. And then we're going to put 1 here in the middle. And then we will pin. I'll pin from the middle to the right. And if I pick it up, which I find is better than leaving it flat, it'll smooth itself out as I do it.
And it's getting cold.
There we go, like that. Down here. And I find if I slowly, like on this left-hand side, if I kind of, let me see if I can show it to you here. Let's see here. I'll show you the end here. So instead of just putting them right on top of each other, like this, I'll take the top one and I'll move it a little bit over to the left, because what'll happen is it'll gather on you. And when you get to the end, it'll want to fold over, and you don't want it ever to fold over on you. This way it gives it, you'll see it when I'm sewing it, what I'm talking about, how it does. So we'll go ahead and we'll pin this all the way along here. And I'm just doing the top part first. I'll come back and do the other. I don't think you can have too many pins because you can take them all off. Okay, and then we'll come over here. Now this second row here, this is not going to be in the way of your needle. And I'm using a walking foot. If you have one, you want to use that. You're going to make your stitch bigger. I make my stitch, I'm comfortable with a 4. And you know, when I first turn my sewing machine on, it's 2.5. So you can take it up to 3.5, which is 3.5, or you can go up to 4. I prefer the 4. And it's just a straight stitch. Make sure I'm in the camera here. Okay. Just pin it all the way along here.
Now, soon that time of year it will begin. The children.
You can whip one of these up in no time at all. Give it to your friends. Keep it for yourself. Okay, there we go. So let's take it over here to the sewing machine. I've gone ahead and set up my foot here. This is my walking foot. I've taken off the arm on here because it's easier to sew. So, I mean, not the arm, the flatbed. So it leaves the arm. This will fit up underneath that. That's not too big, or too wide, I should say. And then let me show you how we get started. Now you want to use polyester thread and also in the bobbin. The first thing I'm going to do, and we're going to begin right here at the beginning, and I'm going along the side seam. And of course I'm going to back tack it. I'm using white thread. You guys can use black, whatever color you want. I don't think we're going to be able to see it. Alrighty, so now I'm just slowly sewing, taking my time. And then I'm going to pull out a pin at a time. And I find that I need to sometimes pull out my left pin. Otherwise, you can just keep going. You want to pull it out before you get to it. Don't go over your pins, whatever y'all do. Now, if you're comfortable using clips and you want to use clips, you can use clips also. No reason not to be able to.
They am making angels in the snow.
And then as it starts gathering, like it's doing here, you don't want that because you don't want to pucker or anything in there. So let me take some pins out, and I'll normally take it out on the left-hand side here, over here, which helps it. Just take your time, like this. You could pull a little taut on that. There you go.
Have the mistletoe. It's Christmas time again. When bells start
I want to turn on you a little bit. Just keep your eye on it.
ringing and the lights start glowing up, I get to thinking about my oldest friends. I'll hang some holly on the door. When they come, it won't be long. It's
And it's okay if it's got this little bit of overlap here, because you're never going to see it. Just lock it into place. Cut it. All right, so I'm going to lay it out here so you can see it. You want to go ahead and snip your thread here. And this is what I was talking about. Although that little piece is like that, that's fine. That'll be buried. Okay, so you're going to lay it like this, and you're going to turn it inside out, or right side out, excuse me. Okay, so this looks like that. And you don't want to take your seam and put it in the middle. You either want to put it at the bottom or the top. So I have it here at the bottom. Make sure it's all laid out here. So it's all laid at the bottom. Here's the seam right here. This is the seam. And then let me show you how we're going to twist it. Now what you're going to do is you're going to, I folded it in half, just like this. You can see where I've got it folded. And then I'm going to flip it and lay it down on top of there. So you can see right here that there's a flip. So let's do it again. I got it laying down here, nice as you please. I'm folding it over. When I get it up here to the top, I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip it. So I have a seam down here at the bottom. Here's a seam down here, and here's a seam up here. So the seams are opposite. You're going to put it together like this. You're going to hold it in the middle. So you're going to grab the middle like this here. So I grab the middle right like that. And then you're going to turn it inside out just like this, holding on to it now. And you're going to put a pin there. So let's do that first. And we're going to go up and down with it for pinning surface. Now, this is just like one of the bags you would make. You're going to take it. You're going to go to the other side. Just like this. And then you're going to pin this side. Just like that. And now we're going to lay this down and we're going to pin it. See, I have a pin on this side and a pin on that side. So let me lay it down here, and then we're going to pin it. Here it is. So I'm going to go to where here's the seam right here. You want to split your seam open, and then we're going to put a pin on it, just like this. We're going to go around here. We're going to put a pin just like we did before. Same concept. Here's where it's got a seam right there. Now you got to figure out where we're going to leave an opening. So I'm going to leave an opening here. So I'm going to put 2 pins. I'm going to X them over like this. So there's an X. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do the same thing right here. I'm going to put an X. X marks the spot. Now you can take your white chalk, if you've got some, and you can mark it if you would like. I've got to find mine if I've got it, so I'm going to have to look for it. Let's mark this here. Now this has got a little bit of stretch in it because it's polyester. And then we're going to take our pins and we're going to put them down here, just like we did before. And it's all for stability. This is the opening part, so I don't need to do anything there.
Christmas time again. Let's spend the whole day chopping down.
And we got it pinned all the way around like that. See it? Double pinned. Now, let me see if I can find a piece of chalk. Hold on one second. Here's my piece of chalk. Because this is black, I want to mark it. And where I'm going to mark it at, make sure I'm in the camera here, is right here. Okay? This is what I'm doing. I'm making the letter L, or the beginning of the letter F, or the beginning of the letter E. Flip it over this way. Oops, dropped my chalk. And do the same thing. Now, of course, if this Minky is colored, you know, you guys can use another color, but since this is black, I'm going with the white chalk. Okay. And now let's go over here to the sewing machine. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Alrighty, so the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put it on the sewing machine. We're going to back stitch it here and then start sewing it down here. When we come around to the other end, we'll come forward, we'll turn upward, and we'll back stitch it up there. All right, this is for when we close it. And you'll understand it better after we get to sewing it. So let's go ahead and start sewing. I have it coming forward towards me. You make sure none of this is up underneath your machine. And all I'm going to do is go with a forward stitch. Now, if you want to decrease this stitch to 3 since we're locking it in place, that's fine. You can do that too. I'm just going to go over it a couple times and lock it into place. That's all. Okay. Now we're going to put this up underneath the arm. and turn it. I have my needle down. If you have a needle down, you might want to use it. This would be the best time to use it.
Christmas tree, stringing it with lights.
Do the same thing we just did a minute ago. Going to slowly go around it.
White and red. Let's spend the whole day baking Christmas cookies and knitting Christmas scarves for all our friends.
I also find that if you hold it up a little bit, it also helps straighten out your fabric. I don't know why, but it does.
This is the time of year
We're going to be real careful because here's the part that is split.
when everyone can feel a joy at all.
Now we're coming up to the end here. You see my double needles here. And my mark, the white chalk mark here. Now a lot of people will want to make their opening as big as their hand, but I didn't really want to do that because this is going to be really easy to turn inside out because it's so slick. I'm going to come down to here. I'm going to go ahead and back it up here a couple of times. Come forward. Now I'm going to lift up my foot and turn it this way. Take it off. You're going to cut these little strings right here. And don't worry if it's not totally correct. Now we're going to slowly pull this through. And there you have it. It's already got the twist in it. Now, lots of people, let me find the hole. Okay, so a lot of people will either, here's your hole right here. See if I can see it. I'm going to straddle this camera here. Put a little light. So here's the opening right here. It's about that long right there. It's not very long at all. And you can do one of two things. You can either roll it under and pin it and sew it, which is what I'm going to do it. You can hand stitch it if you want. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and just lay it on the machine and pin it. Show you that I'm barely on my fabric there. Okay, so I'm just coming right on the edge like 1/8 of an inch. And that's all I'm sewing it. Just a very thin, and it's only the distance of the hole. So as soon as I get down to this pin, I've caught it all. So first I'm going to take this. I'm going to leave that pin in. I got a pin all the way in the back there. I went ahead and I reduced my stitch length down to 3.5 just for myself. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I want to do it. And then I'm going to slowly make sure my fabric stays underneath here, just so I can get it right on the edge. And this is the part that I'm going to put up against my neck when it comes time to wearing this. Take my needle out. And come down to the next one. Still staying right on the edge. Take my needle out. And then I'm going to back stitch it here. Cut it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut my, let me back you up a little bit so you can see. I'm going to cut the little edge off here. Now, of course, if you do this in black, you're not going to see any of this. But this right here has got little pieces. I'm going to show you my stitch so you can see it in here. So there's my stitch. And when you lay it down, you just go along with your finger here and do that, and it's gone, okay? So lay it like this. I will put that one on for you. Okay, so here it is. And I take the part that I sewed, which is this piece here, right here. I'll put it in the back, and I can tuck that up underneath my neck. Lay it like this, so you won't even notice it. Back up a little bit here. And there you go. And so it's got that turn automatically in there. And this is going to be perfect underneath my jacket for work, because all you got to do is just double it over like this. That's it. There you go. And then put your coat over the top of it. And it feels so soft up against your neck. I hope you guys liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Make a comment if you'd like. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining me.
Deep within, it's Christmas time again.